Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanishing Land Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 343, season 14. Today's date is July 2nd, 2024, and welcome to the program. On today's program, I'm going to talk about some unusual topics. One is Reed's Candy. They were based in the Chicagoland area. Also, Teem Lemon Lime Soda. That's spelled T-E-E-M, not T-E-E. And I'll talk about that. Also, I will reveal my upcoming project down the road. So this will be kind of fun. And I think people will like it. I'm kind of excited. I can't wait to get started. Right now, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by La Machine from Moulinex. And here's a commercial from 1977. And it was a food processor. Okay, so I'll explain about that after the commercial is played. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the show, folks. Thank you.
As a cookbook editor, I'm always creating and preparing recipes. Everything from simple foods to gourmet dinners. Want to know what makes it so easy? La Machine. It chops and grinds. Look, ground beef in seconds. Slices and shreds. And of all the machines I've used, La Machine is the fastest and the most convenient. La Machine. It's made in France by Moulinex, and it's really incredible.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for La Machine by, what's that company's name? Moulinex. Thank you. So, yeah, it's a French product. I assume it is. So, I remember this product very well. I remember the commercials. And I remember one particular commercial that there was a guy, he was an announcer, he goes, La Machine. And then they start this thing up and go zzz. Like that. It's kind of funny. I don't think it's still around. Food processors are around, of course, but not this particular brand. I don't think so. I don't know what happened to them. I could be wrong. But, I don't own a food processor. No, neither does my mother. She doesn't believe in that. I don't know. First she tells me, there's no room. I'd rather cut myself. Not myself, but I mean, I'd rather cut my vegetables myself and all that. She prefers it that way. A lot of people do. Anyway, so, but it is handy, and that commercial is from 1977. And that was very innovative at that time. So, that's good. Another wonderful household appliance that you need to clutter up your kitchen. Why not? So, yeah, but it's pretty good. Okay. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to talk about the Reed's Candy Company that was based in Chicago. Also, Teem Lemon Lime Soda, and my upcoming special project. But first, today is the 120th anniversary of Riverview Park that opened in Chicago. That's at West Belmont Avenue and Western Avenue. And that's by Lane Tech and DeVry Institute of Technology, where I went to school. Also WGN Channel 9, right up the road over there. Because I went to DeVry in 1983, graduated in 1986, and, I was unaware that Riverview Park was there. No clue. I wish I did. Now I know, or have for some time. So that was the beginning of the amusement parks. There were others that opened all over the United States, and they're still a phenomenon. We have one in Chicago. We have, of course, Six Flags. They just made an announcement yesterday. They merged with Cedar Point. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's another amusement park company. And so they merged all those, and it's going to be the biggest amusement park company that's how it is. With companies, they merge. Like of course there's layoffs. Man, I hope not. That was big news like that, and people still go. Ride on roller coasters, merry-go-rounds, all kinds of rides. And so Riverview introduced a lot of amusement park rides. The Bobs, the Greyhound, those are the roller coasters. The Flying Turns, they had the merry-go-round. They had the Water Bug. The Aladdin's Castle. A lot of people who grew up during that time, from the early 20th century until 1967 when it closed. They had wonderful memories going with their parents, going with their friends, during the summer. It wasn't open all year round. That's understandable because in Chicago, it's cold. So I never got a chance to go there because when it closed, I was 3 years old and my parents weren't familiar with this place, And in the old days, people, I read these comments from Facebook all these years saying they took the streetcar to go there, they drove there, the buses, and they enjoyed. They had a good time. They had 2 cents ride, I think 2 cents, 1 cent, 5 cents ride, I believe. I keep forgetting. Of course, they had other attractions. So I mentioned, did they have restaurants there? They had a couple. In a beer garden, I suppose. And then the spokesperson for Riverview Park was Two-Time Baker. He was an entertainer in the Chicagoland area in the early days. He had his own TV show. He recorded some albums. He was a huge man. He really was. And so, happy 120th anniversary to Riverview Park. And we miss it. And that is one of the most talked about topics on Van Chicagoland. And it really is. People love it. They really do. It's they have a special memories in their hearts, of this place like that. And I can understand that. So there's all kinds of memorabilia on eBay, on the internet, pictures, Number one ride for Riverview Park was, of course, the Bobs, the roller coaster. People like that because it was great from what I understood. So they love that ride. They really do. Of course, there was the Fireball. Later on, there was Jetstream. Let's see what else. The Comet. There were some older ones, the Derby, the Jackrabbit. I can go on and on. I've done podcast episodes of Riverview back, long time ago. I like to do that. And I talk about the roller coasters, just one topic of those like that. And, it's fascinating like that. So I've been on a roller coaster twice, but at Six Flags, it was Marriott's Great America when I went. When I was a teenager, I rode the Demon. And I rode the Demon again in 1997. That was it. I'm too old. I can't ride it. I'm just, one, I'm checking. Two, my doctor told me not to ride something like that. So I stay out of that. I wish I could, but that's enough. I always take off my glasses to ride. I can't see. I'm afraid they'll fall out and then I'll lose them. How am I going to get home? And so you got to be safe. You got to be safe like that. Now, of course, as you well know, on WGN TV Channel 9, there's Marcus LaShock. He's a big roller coaster fan. I'm a good friend of his. We talk once all the time. He loves that, and he loves Riverview. He loves that park. He loves the history of that. I love the history of that. We have something in common, thank God. It's wonderful speaking to him about that. Maybe someday we'll meet face to face. Oh, well, we have met face to face, before, but I like to sit down and talk to him about that. Maybe do a podcast episode. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe down the road. We'll talk about Riverview. That would be a fascinating episode. Talk about the history and all that. Because he does read about that. and so do I. Okay, now I'm going to talk about Reed's Candies. Reed's Candies was a range of candies manufactured by the Reed Candy Company in Chicago. There, according to Wikipedia, the Chicago plant was on West Fletcher Street and North Lakewood Avenue, right on the north side. I have a feeling it was probably elsewhere in the Chicagoland area. Maybe. I don't know. It could be because, Chicago is a candy company capital, also cookies and all that. But candy, yeah, it really was. So that started about 1893 by two men. I assume they're brothers or father and son. I'm not sure. And so, no, I think it's, they were brothers, William Reed and Eugene Reed. And I could be wrong, like that, but it was named after that name. And the first candy flavor they made was butterscotch. I love butterscotch. It's wonderful. And so they expanded it, and then it was like a Lifesavers, like we have, Lifesavers is still around, but this was early. I think Lifesavers came much later. And the cooking process they used consisted of a copper kettle to boil butter, corn syrup, and other ingredients to do and make it like a hard candy. And that's what made it so delicious. And when they were packaged in 8 in a roll, with a cellophane, but like a wrapper, to protect, being fresh. And by that time in the 1920s, it was the largest manufacturer of butterscotch candy in the United States. Okay. And other flavors were introduced. And for example, they had peppermint, root beer, licorice, cinnamon, spearmint, butter rum, and tea berry. Let's see if I forgot anyone. They had green. They had that. Yeah, I think I got them all. They also had caramel rum. I don't know what that tastes like. Probably it's good. Also, they made like a lollipop. It's called Paloops. And it's like a twist. And you've probably seen these at dentist's office. I used to see those when I was little. And then so they were called Paloops, which had a twisted paper rope loop, and it was safe on the stick, and those are hard to find. So what's funny about it, in the 60s, a tobacco company bought the candy company, which is Lorillard, I think I pronounced the name. They made Newport cigarettes. And later on, it's sold and rebought and sold, blah, 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 like that. And then it filed for bankruptcy, and then it shut down. Then it resumed in the 1980s, like about 1983. And then they started with gum. They did, which I do not remember. I don't remember that. And that was discontinued in 2006. Then a New York company called Iconic Candy Company in New York is producing the 4 original Reed's candy. One is butterscotch, root beer, cinnamon, and peppermint. And they are back on the market. Funny thing is, I haven't seen them in Chicago. Some people claim on Facebook they have. One said it's in Naperville. It's at a store. One is in Wisconsin, or you can order online. Oh, that's great. I don't know if they taste the same. No idea. No idea at all. So I had it once or twice when I was a kid. It was okay. It was good. But I'm a Lifesavers person. My favorite is Lifesavers 5 flavors, but they changed that over the years. No, correct. I made a correction. My favorite is Lifesavers Wild Cherry. Yeah, I like that. That one's good. Very good indeed. Like that. Okay. All right. So that's maybe hopefully you'll be widely distributed. Also, somebody mentioned it's at Cracker Barrel. If you go out of the city limits, pick up a roll. I will say about that. Anyway, okay. Next up, I'm going to talk about Teem Lemon Lime Soda. Okay. Teem Lemon Lime Soda was introduced in 1959 by Pepsi, and it was in competition with 7-Up. Of course, Coca-Cola had Sprite, and I think Sprite came a little later, a little bit. And so they introduced Teem, and it was like a lemon lime soda, just like 7-Up. There were other ones like that, and that was around probably during the 60s and the 70s, but I didn't see it much. I think it was mostly in the 60s, this soda. And I probably had that when I was a little kid, maybe a little. I don't remember tasting it. Other people claim it was good and all that. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. And so... soda pop is still competitive. They come out with new ones. Other ones discontinue. Teem is still made, I believe, but not here. And it's made in Africa or Latin America. I think Puerto Rico, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Because Sprite came out, it wasn't that popular in the early 60s like that, but then it just blew up for like that. So if you want a lemon lime soda, you can either get for example Sprite or 7-Up, which is big. Of course, we had Canfields in Chicago, and they had their own lemon lime flavor, which was pretty good. I remember that. Also, then Sierra Mist came up. Then Slice. Do you remember Slice? Yeah. So, but what was interesting is about the logo. I remember when I was a little kid, I used to see this logo. My uncle had a grocery store in the 60s. And I remember my mom took me there, and I remember seeing Teem Lemon Lime Soda right there. And it was like, it was green. The logo was white, and I think she bought it once. Like that. But she bought 7-Up because 7-Up is well known, of course. Like that. It's also great for helping with your stomach. Like that. Okay. And so, sodas come and go like that. And I can think there was one called 76. I don't know if people remember. That's from the 60s. I don't, that's, that was me. I might talk about that some other day like that. I don't know. Okay. Right now, I'm going to take a quick break. And then when I come back, I will talk about a special project that I'm working on. It's a surprise. You would like this. And I'll give you a clue. It's an anniversary of Chicago Icon. Okay. So just wait, and I'll be right back, folks. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I am back. Now I'm going to reveal the surprise of the upcoming project I'm going to work on. This year is going to be the 60th anniversary of Ray Rayner and Friends. That's a TV show that's hosted by Ray Rayner. The show, let's see, so it's... yeah, so I'm going to talk about that. Actually, the show started, I believe 1962, and it was hosted by another man, Bill Coughlin. I think that's his name. And that aired in the evening hours, and it was Bugs Bunny with him. Then he left, and then Ray Rayner took over the job while he was on Bozo Circus. He played all of Oliver O'Oliver. He did that. Anyway, so... I'm going to do a 60th anniversary of that show, which me, you and I and the rest of the Chicago area viewers watched it every morning. So I will talk about his history of that, my memories, with the clock in the beginning. He would have the board, the chalkboard with the baseball scores, the weather, and he would wear that jumpsuit, with the Post-it notes. I think he created it long before that. And he would, other features on the show, he would perform or demonstrate products or like hobbies. Things didn't go that well. I'll discuss that in a future episode. Anyway, so the other ones were, of course, Chelveston the Duck. I'll talk about him, and this will be kind of funny because he's one of the most memorable characters on the show. The second one, of course, is Cuddly Dudley. And I'll talk about him. I did a podcast episode about him, but I never did one about Chelveston. No. Someday I will. So I'll talk about those two. And there was Ark in the Park with Dr. Lester Fisher. I'll talk about that as well. Yeah. Of course, he showed cartoons. What cartoons he showed? Mostly Warner Brother cartoons that featured Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, Foghorn Leghorn, Sylvester, and Tweety, Pepe Le Pew, and all that. And the other ones he showed probably some Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I remember that. And he also showed superhero cartoons like Batman, Superman. I think Batman, I remember. Like that. And so I'll talk about the man also, Ray Rayner. I'll talk about his biography and all that. Now, the project will consist of a few things. Like I've done this before with Bozo Circus and Fraser Thomas with Family Classics. Okay. Now, I never did an anniversary for Garfield Goose. Maybe someday I will. Anyway, so I don't know exactly when Ray Rayner premiered, and I know he premiered in 1964. It must be early January, February, something like that, but it doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is, of course, create a video. I'll get some photos, put them together with some music, get some permission first, of course. Then I will write a story on my blog, my memories of watching this show. I will do that. I will do that, and I'll do a podcast episode of that, which will be fun. And, of course, let's see what else. Yeah, so I'll do a video, I'll do a story, and I'll do a podcast. So those are the three things I will do. And it takes a little work, but I enjoy doing it. It'll be a lot of fun like that. So this episode, the special project, will be appearing in a special episode. I'm hitting about 350. That'll be a milestone, which is coming close. This is about 7 episodes from this one. Maybe at the end of the month, or maybe early next month. We'll see. So if it's getting close to it, I'll get started, putting it together. And I'm looking forward to it. I really am. So it's going to be fun. I'd love it. I really do. I haven't done one in a long time. I haven't done a video in a long time. I used to do videos, compile photos of all that. I think it's been about 2 or 3 years since I've done one. And it's, I guess I was so busy with the podcast. So maybe I'll do one later on this year. We'll see about that. We'll see how this one goes. The biggest one was the Bozo Circus one. I did it in 4 parts of the podcast. I did a video of that. It was like a movie in a way. And I wrote a story on my blog about my memories of watching the show. It took a while, but it was worth it. And it was fun. I really did. I enjoyed myself very, very much. Okay. So that's it for this program. Let me do a recap of what I talked about. I talked about the Reed's Candy Company, that was based in Chicago. Also, I talked about Teem Lemon Lime Soda. And also I mentioned about my upcoming project, and it'll be the Ray Rayner and Friends show, their 60th anniversary of their debut. So that's the project I'm going to work on. And I forgot the 120th anniversary of the grand opening of Riverview Park. Amazing. You can't go wrong with that place. Okay. All right, this podcast will be published later on today, wherever podcasts are available, wherever apps you have. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Breaker, Overcast. Just tap on those apps on your phone or your tablet or your desktop or wherever. You can listen to it. You can tap on following, to follow, and you receive a notification for the latest podcast episodes. Excuse me, and then you can listen to previous podcast episodes if you wish. Also, it'll be on my blog, VanishChicagoland.blog. Also, it'll be on my YouTube channel, Vanish Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. And people still ask me, where do I find your podcast? Where do I find your podcast? You find it on YouTube. Type in the search engine. You will find it. Click on subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. And then you'll receive a notification for a new episode. And you can listen to previous episodes if you like. Take your time. They're always there. I got over 300. You got plenty to choose from. Also, be sure to my social media accounts: Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Reddit, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, and TikTok. Okay, the talk. Things like that. Okay. So this is Pete Costache, your host of Vanish Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. Today is kind of a cloudy day. It's nice. Hope the sun comes out. This week's going to be some hot, some cold. The 4th of July is coming up. I'll probably do another podcast after the 4th. We'll see about what I'll discuss. So I have plenty of time to mull it over. And so here's bye-bye for me, and here's a little traveling music from who else? Ray Rayner. That's going to be my new project that's I'm going to discuss and create. It's going to be Ray Rayner, and he's going to say bye, bye, bye. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.